Oh, it's huge. I'm so incredibly proud of the organization, management for building the franchise the right way.
So I think just starts with me and just getting better in that. And I feel like we're really close to being really good. And I think that's what's kind of been frustrating about these few losses. And I think for
Yeah, no, I mean that wasn't anything that we discussed in a team meeting. I'm sure the players and the players union discussed it at all. Having been a part of a lot of those negotiations as a player and been on the other side as a coach.
Caitlin Clark, compared to Magic Johnson, but treated like a bench warmer when it mattered most. The Fever's offense collapsed in the fourth quarter, and we're breaking down the baffling coaching decisions that sabotaged a golden opportunity to beat the Aces. What was Stephanie White thinking? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Why would a coach bench the very thing that's keeping their team alive?
The last time Pacers were in the finals in 2000, I was in the stands. I was a player for the Fever.
we turn the ball over, we foul a lot. Those are just easy points for them. I don't know how many points they had at the free throw line tonight, but
Indiana, as everyone knows, loves basketball. We're born and bred to. It's just the growth of the league, and I think when you look back at other professional leagues, it's about this time frame in the trajectory.
That's exactly what happened when the Fever faced the Aces. And you could see it play out in real time. First half, smooth. Caitlin Clark had the floor completely under control, setting up her teammates, driving the offense, and making sure the Fever kept up with the defending champs. Even though her three-point shot wasn't falling, she found other ways to keep the team in it. She was dissecting the Aces' defense like a surgeon. But then the fourth quarter hit, and it was like someone flipped a switch. Where was Clark in those crucial moments? She didn't disappear on her own. It was as if the Fever straight up forgot they had her on the court. Imagine a Formula One car pulling off a miraculous overtaking maneuver, only for someone in the pit crew to hit the brakes for no reason. That's what it felt like watching the Fever's offense in crunch time.
And now they get an opportunity to again play for a championship in a historic Game 7.
to the free throw line. Then they just got some opportunities to get downhill. So I think for us, when we're looking at this game, because I know we play them again pretty soon, just making sure that we're fully rotated over, fully pulled over, so they don't get those easy ones.
To shoot it through that round hoop, right? And so for everybody that gets to watch, we get to be the appetizer and to voice their opinions. And I'm also proud of our organizations and our leadership at the league.
Here's what makes it even wilder. Statistically, the Fever were better when Clark orchestrated the offense. The team's field goal percentage jumped when the ball was in her hands. She wasn't just scoring herself, she was creating space, finding open looks, and feeding her teammates perfect opportunities to knock down shots. But instead of doubling down on what worked, Stephanie White's game plan seemed to steer away from her strengths. For a player compared to all-time greats like Magic Johnson and Chris Paul, it was baffling to watch her turned into more of an observer. What could explain this? Did White lose trust in Clark late in crunch time? Or was it a move to shift focus elsewhere? Either way, it backfired spectacularly. The Aces, being the title holders they are, didn't just survive.
Thankful to the Simon family for their continued support, belief in both franchises. It's just it's a big day.
I think that 18 of our turnovers, and that mostly falls on me. Excuse me. That falls on me as our point guard. I think I have to really get us into stuff, especially in the fourth quarter. We didn't do a good job of taking care of the ball. I didn't.
Right, to then having the ability to have your own hotel room, right? And then now we're in charter flights, and just much like being a player and being a coach, being a young person and being an older person.
They pounced on the chaos and flipped the game completely. You can't just bench your best decision maker and expect to keep up with a team like that. But here's the kicker. It wasn't just Clark who was left hanging. Another key piece of the Fever's puzzle was completely stranded during those critical moments, and it might have cost them the game. In the first half, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston were a nightmare for the Aces. The way they clicked felt effortless. Clark was feeding Boston with precision, threading passes through traffic, while Boston was dominating the paint like she owned it. Every pick and roll, every slip screen, it all seemed to end in points. Boston wasn't just scoring, she was imposing her will, drawing fouls and grabbing boards. Together, they made it look like the Fever had finally cracked the code, trading blow for blow with the defending champions. But the second half, you wouldn't even recognize that duo. Especially in the fourth quarter, it was as if the two of them were playing different games.
Was a part of the first CBA negotiation where really all we wanted, and Rebecca probably remembers this, was insurance all year round.
A good portion of the game, I thought we executed our scout in the ways that we wanted to, and down the stretch, we just really couldn't find a way to get it done.
With this league, and I'm proud of them for continuing to. You learn to value the different pieces that go into the puzzle.
Boston would post up calling for the ball, only to watch the offense drift to the perimeter. Meanwhile, Clark wasn't running the same sets that worked so well earlier. They were handing the ball off or taking rushed shots that went nowhere. The rhythm, the chemistry, it was all gone. You ever have a playlist that starts out with bangers, only for someone to switch it to elevator music halfway through? That's exactly what this felt like.
I've been a part of this league for 25 years and have.
For us today, I think this is much different than the Golden State loss. I think in Golden State, we just got straight up outplayed and out hustled. Tonight we did things really well
where things to begin to change, and things are changing rapidly for our league and for understanding how we grow it, right? And there's a process to growing it. So.
What makes this more frustrating is how dominant Boston still was. She finished with 26 points and 5 rebounds, but look closer. Her touches vanished in the final minutes. The Fever seemed to forget that feeding her inside had been their bread and butter. Clark, who had set her up perfectly all game, wasn't being given the same opportunities to involve her. Having a duo this talented and not riding it to the end is like parking a Ferrari in the driveway and choosing to ride a bike instead.
The players deserve opportunities to grow, and making sure that we're setting up the league for long-term success is the most important thing.
The little things, we've kind of just shown ourselves consistently doing that.
So was this about adjustments by the Aces or the Fever outthinking themselves? Honestly, it's on the coaching staff. Las Vegas didn't turn the lights off on Clark and Boston. The Fever dimmed their own with poor decisions. And unless that changes, this won't be their last late game disaster. But what needs to happen for the Fever to prevent the same sinking feeling? The Fever's fourth quarter collapse wasn't just about shots not falling or the Aces' defense stepping up. It was about poor decisions that wasted golden opportunities, especially when it came to Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. To unlock their full potential, the Fever must put their trust in Clark's playmaking and Boston's inside dominance when the game hangs in the balance. This duo needs to be the center of the offense, not just in the first half, but all the way through. Fever fans deserve better. So what's the fix? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.